Hello and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 17 team selection video with me, Holly Shand, with some big decisions to make on the injured Erling Haaland. In this video, I'll be going through my transfer plans, team selection and captaincy going into Gameweek 17. Help me get this one to 500 likes, like and subscribe, aiming for 30k subs by the end of the year. Let's get into it. Starting off with how my game week 16 went, and it was a pretty good one for me. I needed a good game week. I ended on 64 points with a game week rank inside the top 1 million, which takes me up to 300k overall. So I've got to be pretty pleased with that. And a lot of my decision making really paid off this week. I was toying between bringing in Colwill or Porro in my defence. I went with Porro and that definitely paid off. 5-pointer from him. It could have been so much more if it wasn't for that late clean sheet wipeout. Tsimikas also getting a return in my defence. In the midfield, Son, I said hold him if you've got him, start him. He delivered a brilliant 17-pointer. I was a bit worried when I saw the team sheet came out that Richarlison was playing number 9 with Son out wide, but he absolutely delivered. And Salah showing how important it is to set your vice captaincy upright with that 26-pointer. There was blanks elsewhere though for Palmer, Gordon, Saka and Darwin. Palmer another transfer in. He's now 1 yellow card away from a ban, which is a bit of a worry. Areola didn't feature for West Ham. However, the replacements didn't really perform anyway. Lascelles and Livramento on my bench. Lascelles with a -1. Definitely pleased I brought in Porro so that I could avoid starting either of those guys. Now, obviously, the transfer plans are dominating by what to do with Erling Haaland, but my biggest piece of advice right now is to wait until Friday. It is a Friday deadline, but by Friday we'll have a lot more information. And we've also got a busy midweek. We've got 8 Premier League teams involved in the final group round games of European competitions. Now, for some teams, they've already qualified, in other cases already won their group as well, so can afford to rotate, which I think teams will take the opportunity to do so. But we've got Man United must win against Bayern Munich to have any hope of qualifying, and the same for Newcastle with a crunch tie against AC Milan. And you know, with a lot of fatigue coming in, I think it's really important to stay patient this week. If the right decision by the end of the week is to sell Haaland, that's absolutely fine. By selling him, you're freeing up a lot of money, so there's no point really chasing price rises and price falls at this point, because if we do sell Haaland, we're going to have plenty of money. Now, I do go into game week 17 with just the 1 free transfer, which is a little bit frustrating. 1 million in the bank. Not that that matters if selling Haaland is the strategy. We already know Pep Guardiola spoke after the Luton game to say that Haaland has got an issue with his foot. Pep said that it's not a fracture, it's just some stress in the bone. Now, I don't know whether to believe Pep or not. He seems quite coy on this. He said that we'll see about Haaland's availability for Palace, but it looks unlikely. He's hopeful that maybe Haaland can be involved for the Club World Cup, which is next midweek, remembering City then blank in game week 18. So it's highly likely that Haaland misses at least 2 games. We also have to bear in mind the congested schedule means we cannot rely on him for starts, minutes or captaincy for 19 or 20 either. So I personally think this is the right time to sell. Make sure you're reinvesting funds in your squad, but also keep in mind that you need a route back to Haaland, particularly game week 20 if he is fit against Sheffield United at home. So make sure that whatever moves you make, that you can get back to Haaland in 2 transfers, because if he is fit, we are going to want him back in our sides. But given the congested period, I think we can really capitalise on this injury, spreading the funds elsewhere. Son and Salah, very important if you don't own them already in midfield, because they're going to be the key captaincy candidates while Haaland is out. Now, in terms of my own team, I was always planning on bringing Watkins back in this week. It was going to be for Darwin, but the injury to Haaland means that I might as well bring him in for Haaland. And when I want to get Haaland back, it will be Darwin making way if I can stomach holding on to him for that much longer. Watkins, Aston Villa are in fantastic form. 2 huge wins at home. Massive confidence now going into the rest of this December schedule. And Watkins has got 17 goal involvements this season. I feel like I've really got away with not owning him in the last 2 game weeks, but it's time to rectify the mistake of selling him for Darwin a few weeks ago when he had his own injury concerns, and reap the rewards of his attacking returns over this period. Now, I have only got 1 free transfer this week, but I am planning on taking a hit. I feel like to sell Haaland, I really want to use those funds as soon as possible. And I know that my defence is still looking weak at the moment. And one player that I really, really want right now is Liverpool's Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's been playing more advanced in recent games. He had 1 assist in the first 12 game weeks. He's now got 2 goals and 2 assists in the last 4 game weeks. And we've seen him moving into midfield in that inverted wing-back role. He's also wrestled set pieces back off Szoboszlai, and he's looking like the Trent that was essential at the back end of last season. So I wouldn't generally advise taking a hit for a defender in FPL, but I don't see Alexander-Arnold as a defender. And you know, the fixtures are a little bit mixed for Liverpool, I must admit, but Alisson is back. And I'm not owning Trent for clean sheets. I'm owning him for his attacking returns. Yeah, he's an 8 million-ish defender, but I see him as an 8 million-ish midfielder with some chance of getting some clean sheet points along the way as well. And the bonus point system is always quite nicely weighted for him in terms of a defender that gets attacking returns. And with McAllister potentially out for a little while with a knock, I think that's really going to help Trent in terms of his positioning in these upcoming games. I seem to remember owning him over the festive period for a few seasons, and he has absolutely delivered some big hauls. So I'm pretty excited to have him back in my team. Having Trent and Porro in my defence makes my team a lot better viewing when it comes to team selections now. Now, I'd love to get rid of Lascelles to get Trent back in. The trouble is, I am already tripled up on Liverpool players. I've got Darwin, I've got Salah, and I've got Tsimikas. So the only way to get Trent in is to sell Tsimikas. And while he's not a great pick long term, he's probably not the weakest position in my FPL defence right now. So that does weaken the appeal of this move. It would be a lot more exciting to ditch a Newcastle United defender that's not in form and could lose his place soon. But, you know, Tsimikas isn't a great long-term hold anyway, and he is prone to rotation as well. So I don't think it's a bad move. It would be my 3rd hit of the season. I don't take hits lightly, but I do see this as a key period for really making up some ground and really attacking the game. Team selection time then, and with Areola still a doubt, it's going to be Flacken who starts between the sticks. Aston Villa at home. Not the easiest fixture on paper right now. Hopefully he just accumulates some save points. He got 3 points for me last week, so I'm happy in terms of his ability to accumulate points without clean sheets right now. Happy to roll with him. Some decisions to make in the defence. Obviously Newcastle have got Fulham at home, Livramento and Lascelles. On paper that looks like a nice fixture, but Fulham have just scored 5 goals in back-to-back games. Newcastle look absolutely dead on their knees with the amount of injuries they've got at the minute. That defence is not performing. Trippier absent from this game as well through suspension, and a busy midweek. I feel inclined to bench my Newcastle defenders and play at the back Trent, Porro, who would always start. Trent's got Manchester United at home. Again, not an easy fixture on paper, but Manchester United seem in disarray at the moment. And I fancy him for attacking returns at the very least. Porro away at Nottingham Forest, a nice fixture for him. Saliba at home to Brighton. Brighton with a lot of issues at the moment. I do think Arsenal have got a good chance of a clean sheet in that game. Obviously need that upturn in form after some patchy defensive performances of late. Into the midfield, and it kind of picks itself here. I've got 4 of the 5 players with home games, which is encouraging. Palmer at home to Sheffield United. Let's see what he can do in this game. Gordon at home to Fulham. Again, Gordon's performed in every home game so far this season, so I'm excited to see what he can do. Saka at home to Brighton. Brighton defensively are not great, so that's a good fixture. Salah at home to Manchester United. I have a feeling he's got a pretty good record against them. And then we've got Son away at Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, who put in some poor defensive performances recently. That seems like a nice fixture to attack as well. And then up front, it's going to be Darwin at home to Manchester United, Watkins away at Brentford, and Archer on the bench for Chelsea away. Quite excited by this front seven. I know obviously Haaland's a big miss, but there's some great fixtures in there. Some players that are in fantastic form as well. So fingers crossed for a really good game week for them. Captaincy then, and with no Haaland, it becomes a difficult decision, but there are two very good alternatives. Son away at Nottingham Forest, Salah at home to Manchester United. Now, I am struggling a little bit to split this pair. Right now, the captaincy is on Son, with Salah as vice-captain. I could be tempted to go the other way, though, and I am going to be looking closely at Salah's minutes in the Europa League this midweek. He didn't get his rest in the last Europa League game, so that's going to be a key factor in my decision-making here in terms of exactly what to do. But I think the armband has to go with one of these players because we can trust them in terms of their attacking prowess. Now we know Son's on penalties. That's pretty important as well. But I think either will do really well this week. So I think as long as you've got one of them, you're good. But make sure as well to set that vice-captaincy. We saw how important that was last weekend. Get your dilemmas in on this video. I'm aiming to answer all comments, and make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Let's get it to 500 likes and help me on the way to 30k subs by the end of the year. Thank you so much for watching.